Larry, welcome to Cape Town. You've been here for a few days and it was very, very intense. But before we get to that point, just who is Larry? Tell me about you.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, I'm from Johannesburg. Lived in Cape Town as well. But most of my life, all of my life, from Johannesburg. And I've been involved in, this is my passion. My people are my passion, and I am relentless in my pursuit to see my people, which is the Khoisan people, economically liberated. And that's the one aspect. There are many other diverse aspects to me. I'm a human being, just like everybody else. I'm not a chief. I don't go by titles or ranks. I believe that the most important person in in the people's group that I'm part of is the individual, the one right at the bottom, the grassroots level. And that is Larry's view on the Koisan issue. And then, like I said, there are other things that I also dabble in business. I don't want to get into all of that. I'm a Christian. Yesterday I mentioned as well, and I think this is probably the most important point. Before I'm anything, I'm a Christian. So you can strip everything away from me, but you never strip away my Christianity. And I would like that to be the most important point that people remember about me.
So we've got a organization called Moja Multimedia. We're aligned to BRICS, so we look at the world in a particular way. So we believe the biggest issues that we are confronted with in this country is poverty, unemployment and inequality. And it's got various manifestations. So in the old Cape province, you would have had many moons ago, you would have had drugs and guns thrown on the Cape Flats, and then by the apartheid regime. And we're dealing with the tot system impact, die dopstelsel, where people got cheap wine and not proper wages. So it's second, third generation realities. So there's all these complex issues. So some of us have a view that we need to network with people across the color lines, network across the board, both economically, socially, politically, in order to ensure that we create a better society. So your organization's name, this organization that you pursue your agenda through, not the business agenda now, what is it called and why is it called what it is called? And what's the focus of it?
Thank you. So the name of it is the PAN Khoisan Sovereign Movement. I think in the name it explains what it is about, but I'll go through that. PAN meaning we're focusing on the Southern African region, across borders, because we didn't create these borders. Our people were here, my people was here before anybody was here, and we never had borders. We had territories that we governed in, between tribes, but we always saw ourselves as one people. And that's the PAN Khoisan part of the name. And then sovereign, we were sovereign people. Before any invader, both black and white, came into this territory. And that is our pursuit. We want economic sovereignty, financial sovereignty, political sovereignty for our people. Not just to be separate from everybody. That's not our intention or our goal. It's about protecting our identity, our languages. We've lost all of those things. Our lands, because we don't have any form of financial sovereignty. We don't have any political sovereignty because we are constantly being suppressed in these areas, because we are pulled into a larger majority in the rest of South Africa. So that's the one aspect, is we want to be respected as what we've always been, what we are, and what we always choose to be, which is a sovereign people. We're a nation. And that's our movement. So a lot of what we do is we litigate we go to court, we do those kinds of things because everything is legal. Everything is based on the law. And until you can defeat someone on a law or win whatever it is you're advocating for in law, you will just be a petitioner on the street. So we've done protesting, we've done all those different kinds of things, but we strategically use that to bring our people together, so let them feel that we are united. But we understand there's not much you can achieve through protesting and all of those things. The power is in the courts, because everybody is subjected to court. And then the other aspects are policy and so forth. So we understand those different aspects of society. But our main goal, our main objective is to win our rights back, or for our rights to be restored or to given life through the legal systems, whether it be domestically in South Africa, continentally in Africa, or at the United Nations with the ICJ. But those are our primary objectives, is to make sure that we are respected as a sovereign people. We want to be able to engage with sovereign government as a sovereign, make deals as the Koisan with Ghana, with Egypt, with Mozambique, with Brazil, with China, whoever it may be, but as a sovereign people with a sovereign vision. And that is primarily what we are pursuing.
Oh, no, great stuff. So it's really about identity, it's about taking ownership, but it's also about accountability and responsibility. So that brings me to your visit to Cape Town, and I just want to say that from a litigation angle, I think it's a very powerful process to push the boundaries, because we are in a constitutional democracy. A constitutional democracy have essentially the three legs of it. One, you do have the judiciary, which you're talking about. There's the political space, which is the executive, and there's the parliamentary space. So I think it is important, as one pursue the agenda of, I would argue, the restoration and the restoration of our people, what is particularly important is to appreciate all three legs. So you're tackling this one leg, but we must also admit that this leg is not completely transformed. So those that's got access to resources, those are the ones that can get best legal practitioners involved in it. And that is the dichotomy of a society that speaks transformation, that speak about what I call the Ansana and the Gogo, the representing the poorest of the poor, the grassroots person. Yeah. But the grassroots person, based on resources at times, are locked out. So you've taken on this particular issue. One, tell us about what this issue was that you took before the court. Did you have legal, essentially representation, and just the modalities around that currently? Just the issue.
Hey to everybody across South Africa and hopefully across the whole globe. We are here today as a Kwe and a Kam nation, we are coming up against the sales of our land. As it is, the DA, the Democratic Alliance, the Demonic Alliance as I would refer to them, are planning to have an auction where they will be selling pockets of land in South Africa, land that ancestrally belonged to our people. The Kwe and the Kam, they are the original owners of this land, and the invaders have taken it upon themselves to sell our ancestral land. We are protesting against that. Today we have the support of different political parties, different Kwe and Kam organizations, tribal. We are all here. I am here as the Gauss, the queen of the New Inkwe royal house of the Nutais Kurana, and we have already reclaimed Kroflokskraal, and we as Kroflokskraal community totally support this move. We are against the sale and the selling of our ancestral land.
I'm Evelyn Greaves. I'm from the Housing Assembly, and we are here today because some of the people have been evicted today, and we are here to stop the evictions. So we are here for court case of people being evicted from houses, etc.
I think one short message from my side, which is that one, as the PMC, we absolutely endorse this, we support this, and one is forever going to be too small a number to achieve greatness. With the history the President just shared, President Marius Fransman, it is then therefore incumbent upon us to stand with the indigenous people to ensure that no further stealing continues. It happened in the past, and it can no longer happen when we, as young people, are raising our voices and saying enough is enough.
Yeah. Yesterday we took a case to the High Court in Cape Town, and this case was particularly about the land that is being auctioned by the city of Cape Town. Now, these lands, we had one of two things, and I think it's important for our people to understand. We had one of two things: to litigate, this is our land, this is our land. But you're going to a court, doesn't recognize that this is your land, recognize this is everybody's land. And there's the other leg of dealing with the city of Cape Town on a procedural basis, which is what we've done. We've identified through our own engagements with the city of Cape Town that they didn't follow due process. And that is what we premised our case on when we went to the High Court. And the court, which we did in our, at the back of our minds, we do bear in mind the lack of transformation, more especially in the Western Cape. But it is.
Yeah, it is. You have to go that route. It's the right thing to do.
So we litigated. We also had the option of taking getting other legal practitioners that functions under the LPC, the Legal Practice Council. But we've decided that no, we have our own law that we use. Number one, I've always been an advocate of the Richtersveld case. Now, I don't know how much you know about the Richtersveld case. Insofar it refers to customary law, but specifically the Koisan's customary law, or the Nama people were part of the Koisan. And in that particular judgment, the court recognized that these people have their own way of life, they have their own laws, and that law, now this was a landmark case, that law is no longer to be read through the lens of common law or white law or Roman Dutch law. It is an equal, separate, independent set of legal system. So that meant then that this law is not under any other law. It is equal to any law or set of systems in the country, which is fundamental in the sense that when we took the case to court, what I argued also to the judge is, my law gives me standing for my customary rights, because when I come to court, when I deal with particular things, Section 211.3 specifically refers to, customary law and so forth. So we pursued the court. I've mentioned it because even though I understood we're pursuing our relief through a lack of due process followed by the city of Cape Town, we also are trying to entrench certain things as we move along, which are part of our goals, which is that every other indigenous person or Koisan person, through what we do and everything that we do, they will be setting precedents so that tomorrow they can come and they don't need to fall under a Roman Dutch system or a Roman Dutch law. They can come in their Koisan capacity.
So it's essentially precedent setting processes.
Yes, while we are dealing with land that is being auctioned off.
Great stuff. So just to people that really don't know, that's not too au fait with it. We're speaking here about 50 pieces of land, parcels. We're also speaking about the fact that there was not a proper process followed by the city of Cape Town. And these pieces of land can be used for integrated human settlement. It can also be used to create essentially opportunities for people that's far in distance from the city, i.e. outside of the CBD, Khayelitsha or Atlantis, that it can create an environment where there's affordability in human settlement and housing delivery. So that's the key issues.
Hi, mornings. My name is Ibrahim Klassen. I'm from Del. The reason why I'm here today is to support the land issue. I'm from Housing Assembly, it's an organization that fight for injustice, inequality.
It's not about one man, one family, one tribe, one clan. This is about the entire Koisan nation and the entire Koisan estate.
So we are standing at the Western Cape High Court today in support of the Aboriginal people of this country. The city of Cape Town is planning to auction 50 parcels of land in the city of Cape Town.
What this issue is about is lack of due process that the city of Cape Town has not followed, or process that they have not followed, or the lack thereof. And it's about ensuring that the land that has been earmarked for particularly housing, affordable housing, and for the minority and for our people, the people of this land, that we also, over and above affordable housing, can demonstrate sustainable entrepreneurship and also cultivate meaningful employment. And that also is the next step that we're intending to take.
That was one of the issues that we have also raised in our papers. Is there was a site specifically that was auctioned. The DA was actually very smart, the city of Cape Town. I mean, probably interchangeably. They were smart in hiding this one particular property, which is in Upper Canterbury Gardens. That was in 2017, which was still under a DA government. That was earmarked for land for housing. Was in their 2017 affordable housing prospectus. Yet there was never a point where they de-indexed that property and brought it back to council and said, guys, we haven't done anything with this property. Let's talk about it. It's not suitable for housing anymore. Can we put it out? No, none of that was done. So, and this is in the reports. The council of the city of Cape Town acknowledged that. In fact, the city of Cape Town themselves have acknowledged that. Even in terms of the housing is a very important point, because you're sitting with over 400,000 people that don't have houses, that are on a waiting list. Yet, our properties or land that was earmarked for housing is being taken off for housing. Now, that's already in the city center where people need to be. There's already transport, everything is there. So it's perfect. But because of the spatial apartheid that has been, that is still existing today, the DA is entrenching that by not using something they themselves have earmarked. So they want to keep people out that they believe, these are poor people, they don't fit into what we want the city to look like and feel like. We want to push them out or keep them there on the periphery. Then the other factor was, you look at the Good Hope Center. Now, that's a heritage site. Good Hope Center, this is now with the same, the Good Hope Center was one of the properties up for auction. In their own papers, the DA had interim comments from Heritage Western Cape. Interim comments referred to the fact that there's no final comments, first of all. How can you auction something when the very institution that says there's a heritage link and they haven't even finalized their, due diligence on the process? Yes. On top of that, part of what they've put forward to the city of Cape Town is that there's a cultural arc between the Castle of Good Hope, the Good Hope Center, and all of those. They are intermarried in terms of their history, or interrelated. And these are things that Heritage Western Cape put forward to the city of Cape Town, which they completely ignored. In fact, they conceded that in their arguments. But these properties have real value for what society needs. There's housing, there's the heritage links, and all of these different things that the city of Cape Town is clearly overlooking for commercial interest.
And it's interesting that they're doing it at a time where it's 7 months before an election. So it's clear where I'm looking at it from, it's as if the city wants to sell off jewels of Cape Town. But these jewels are jewels that could have been used for the betterment of as you said, the public good. What I've also heard from somebody, and the city have to respond to this, my information is that they were busy renovating the roof structure of Grove Centre and also auctioning it off, meaning is there a sweet deal that has been granted to somebody that you're fixing this and you're going on auction? Because obviously repairing a whole roof structure at Grove Centre is quite a lot of money. So there's all these questions that is on the horizon. But I think the fundamental thing is that you're sitting with a very narrow new liberal agenda. The DA look at how do they essentially privatize things against the public good. And I think the one thing that just want to back to your sovereignty issue and back to your indigenous question, there is a 1913 land restitution process. And part of my view, as part of the descendants of the Khoi and the San, is that we all need to stand up very hard against the fact that the restitution legislation of South Africa currently do not allow the pre-1913 reopening of people that has lost the land. The people that has lost the land before 1913 is the Khoi and the San. So these are the complex issues, and the land issue is linked to sovereignty issues. In my other life, I've got a little organization, you can see it's the PMC, and part of that is that we believe one need to agitate the hard issues in it, and we need to basically bring together people from all political persuasions, cultural persuasions, around the issue of land, but in the context of Cape, which for us is the land question. So I want to say thank you that you were able to take this head on. Any last message to the people out there from your side?
Wat kan ek sê? Marius Fransman van die PMC. Ja, ek is kaptein de weer van die Khoi Aboriginal Party wat sy base het op Knoflokskamp. Ons is 'n inheemse party en ons is daar om vir ons mense, vir ons Khoi en San nasie op te staan. Ons is daar ook om saam te werk met al onze so-called colored parties. So die Khoi Aboriginal Party is hier om te bly en ons is hier om te veg vir ons nasie.
What is the principal problems in Cape Town? It is the issue of land, it is the issue of access to land, and what we've seen spatial planning in Cape Town has done is they're crowding people out to Kailicha, to Atlantis, to Bonteheuwel. That's the crisis that we've got. And this attempt to do a land grab, I call it the city and private capital is doing a land grab. We are coming as the PMC to say, calling on the city to stop it. We are saying it is wrong. We are saying that pieces of land must go for affordable, integrated human settlements. That's what is required. And why are they doing it a few months before the elections? Because the city of Cape Town DA know the DA is falling, and therefore they're trying to do a land grab. So we are against that.
There's two things I just want to mention or add to what you've mentioned, which I think is important. You spoke about these. It was actually, I think, over 4 million rand, over 5 million rand that the city of Cape Town spent on the Grove Centre. Nobody redevelops and invests so much money into a property that you intend to auction off. So it doesn't make sense, first of all. That adds to this sweet deal that we suspect. There should be something. Nobody does something like that, you know. I think that is something that needs some thorough investigation from people. Then in terms of there's another point that you mentioned also. In terms of the 1913 Land Act, the Richtersveld case is also very important because those people's claims to the land predated 1913. So already that is precedent to the fact that we were able to bypass the 1913 Act through the Constitution. And I think also what is important for people to recognize and understand, the Constitution is a remedial document. It's remedial in nature. The Constitution in its preamble speaks about recognizing the injustices. It doesn't put a timeline to it. It speaks about healing the divisions of the past. And once we begin to interpret the Constitution holistically as a whole document and the intentions behind this document, we begin to see how the judges got to a conclusion in the Richtersveld matter. Because that in itself, for me, it's arguably the greatest landmark case we've ever had for indigenous peoples in this country, but it is underutilized. And so in many places that I get an opportunity to speak, that is the one thing I want to stress and get out to the Koisan people is you have a tool, use that spanner to unlock, the land process for wherever it is you have an interest. But yeah, I just wanted to add, that particular point. Any last words I would have is, in terms of this case, we've now also appealed the case. There will be a matter that is heard again in terms of the appeal for this case that we lodged yesterday. And we are relentless in our pursuit for justice. This is our land. The land belongs to the people of Cape Town, belongs to the Khoi and the San. And may we never be, or how can I put this? May we never die on our, laying on our faces. We must die fighting. We can't allow a system to, once they think they've beaten us, and then we just move on and we try a new fight. No, we will fight this, specifically this land case, this auction case, to the Supreme Court of Appeals. And from the Supreme Court of Appeals, if we don't get favor there, we will go up to the Constitutional Court. And if we don't win in the Constitutional Court, we will find other ways. But we must not be perceived as people that when the DA or any white supremacist institution comes and they use their, economic power, and then they sort of force us into accepting whatever they say or their judiciary system says is the, verdict on a particular matter. But yeah, I think that was very important for me to mention. That's why I came to Cape Town. And yes.
Yeah. No, thanks so much. Just to our community out there, I want to say, here you've got a young man that stood very, very firm in taking up the issues of land. The question is really where all of us stand in that. And there's legal practitioners out there in Cape Town, there is NGOs, there's community-based organizations, there is formations that's progressive. I have a major issue with the fact that the African National Congress is actually not implementing its own policies, because at the national level, the ANC is in coalition with the DA. In a provincial level, there is the DA, and in the city. So one can take on IGR legislative stuff, and then in Parliament, the chairpersons of committees, don't know who's the chairperson of this particular process, either of local government, because you get COCTA, I think that is Zweli Mkhize. So I possibly think there's a need to also make representation to Zweli Mkhize on the back of being the chairperson of the National Committee of COCTA, so that they can call in the city of Cape Town. And therefore my message to Parliament and in particular to Zweli Mkhize is, you have to stand up for the people. You can't have a scenario when the Zulu community stood up in KZN, the ANC and Zweli Mkhize and others was able to stand firm behind them. Here we've got Parliament, we've got the National Council of Provinces, and I think the challenge must be there. So I'm starting to suggesting that whilst there is a battle in the legislative process, or in the legal process, we must actually raise our aggression also to the National Assembly. And that's something that I can support, I can help, I can advise, and we can participate in. But one of the things, as you were speaking, I realized that we must convene a land beraad. There must be some form of land dialogue discussion, and make this a precedent discussion, but in context with Richterveld's community. So it's something that I hope you can come back to with. And most probably, whilst you're not in Cape Town, we will be able to do a webinar, and then ultimately at some stage a physical event. But thanks so much, and all the best with the activities that you're going to have over the next. And we know that you will be succeeding, irrespective of the outcome eventually of an appeal or non-appeal. Thank Thanks.
Thank you.